Hi, my name is Jenessa. I am the host of Friends Are for Podcasting, and this is the first episode and the first installment of this podcast series. This will be kind of a short intro to the podcast as well as the intro to the person. So, why is the reason why I am posting this? That's probably going to be the frequently asked question of this particular series. I think the inception of this series came about in 2023. I had wanted to do some kind of interview style for quite some time, and I picked Friends Are for Podcasting as the title because a lot of the people who I wanted to interview with were friends of mine, luckily, and they are in some respects in the art space, the music space, the writing space. And so I think the point in bringing this podcast up is for a couple of reasons. One, I believe that my friends, whether they are artists, musicians, painters, writers, creators, collaborators of any kind, they deserve some sort of a platform for what they are creating and producing in this space. I think we bring attention to mass media, oftentimes people who are already in the spotlight and people who we don't know. Wanted to create a sense of normalcy in bringing in faces and people that you are not familiar with, and that's okay. And as well, I think I have a bit of an advantage here in terms of interviewing these people because they actually are indeed my friends, and that's so cool that I have so many creative people that I am surrounded with often to do this with. And so it kind of gives the viewers and the listeners a voyeuristic approach to a conversation with seasoned friends who are just kind of shooting the shit, if you will, and maybe asking questions that you wouldn't normally ask your friends in a day-to-day conversation or in a catch-up. And I think it's really important that we deep dive into people's passions. That being said, I am introing my first guest, which is so exciting. Roma is a friend of mine who I have been friends with for quite some time, since high school, which was a long time ago at this point now. And we have been friends and continue to be friends after high school. I think that's a really rare circumstance that not a lot of people really have, of a childhood friend that they can say is someone who they are each other's confidants and people's go-tos to laugh and to cry and to have those deep conversations with. And so with that being said, I interviewed Roma because she's a badass bitch. She's someone who has really girl bossed her way to the top. And she's someone who is in the business space, someone who is in the director space, and someone who really emits a lot of girl boss energy. She talks about in this episode, her grounding way of getting to where she is now, that she worked in retail. We both had worked in retail when we were younger and decided to really move up from there. So she is such a dear, dear best friend of mine, someone who I really, truly can say to this day has been such an influence in my life. And I'm really, really excited for you to hear the first episode. So hi, Roma.
Hi, Jenessa.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you very much for coming on to the podcast.
You're going to ask me the hard questions.
I really am going to ask you the hard questions.
Okay.
But first and foremost, how do we become friends? Since this is the whole point of this podcast.
I think 2 seconds ago we disagreed because I thought that we had like an English class together.
We did not.
I might be hallucinating things.
Did you actually take EP English? Because I did. No, I did not. No.
I took it so that I took most of my classes in high school so that like I didn't have to do a lot senior year. So I like front loaded everything.
Which is smart.
Yeah.
But no, we did not have AP English because...
No, we took AP Psych together.
We did.
Though. Yeah.
That's where we had a first class together. But do you remember the specific moment where I met you? Because I don't.
I remember always seeing you around.
Yeah.
Because I hung out with, like, in I don't call them this anymore because, like, we're all grown adults. But, like, I used to hang out with, like, this group of friends who were, like, basically my kids because they were, like, 1 to 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And we would walk by everybody in, like, the band and theater hall, which, honestly, there were crazy vibes happening in there. It was
choir, theater, and band all in one hall.
I just didn't know, because, like, there was a lot of crossover between a lot of the people there. So, like, I didn't really know how to navigate it. I wasn't really going to comment on it because, like, I knew a lot of people in that hall, but, like, I wasn't in the in group, I would say. So I would see everybody there, be very polite, and, like, say hi to everyone.
Right.
And I would imagine that I said hi to you enough times for us to be acquainted with one another.
You know, I have, like, a very vague memory of you and I maybe it's, like, vague or just general, but just us intersecting between classes and being like, hey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know, like,
I don't know how we became acquainted, though. I don't know if it was, like, a marching band person, because I did marching band. I also played the trumpet. And that's how we have intersecting friends, is because the majority of them were in marching band with me. Yeah. And so I knew you because of that, but it was very vague how and when.
I like to think, because I truly don't remember. And also because, like, yes, we had, like, mutual friends. I like to think that, like, it was, like, a baddie to baddie, like, telekinetic connection.
Telekinesis.
Where, like,
moving
it was,
objects.
like, we would, like, be in the same vicinity and sense each other's presence and be like, I'm near a baddie. And
but we wouldn't be, like, frightened. We'd just be like, the way
a
that
baddie.
you just described that is like a frightened little girl, just like
It's like Raven Simone, right? Like, we're like Wednesday Addams when she, like, has a vision.
Yes.
It's just like two baddies having a vision of our future friendship.
Funny thing is that I did not consider myself a baddie in high school.
You were such a bad bitch.
Oh my God.
I think maybe that's why I was familiar with your game. Because, like,
baddie recognizes baddie.
Yeah, because, like, my friends were like, yeah, like, Jenessa Gonzalez is hot. And I'm like, well, yes. Well, yes.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
You did,
not.
like, throughout all of high school, even when we were in AP English, you didn't think that.
We weren't in AP English together.
Oop. She's slipping.
She is slipping.
Okay, but, like, even when we were, like, in AP Psych together, you didn't think that you were a baddie?
No.
You were giving bad bitch.
No, you know, at that time, it was senior year of high school.
Yeah.
I was just, like, overall I was so done. I was so done mentally.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. I almost
Fried.
did not almost graduate. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
Yeah, you told me that.
Oh, yeah, because
you were, like, crashing out
once.
Yeah.
Take it again.
Yeah, valid though, because, like, our ecom, sorry if I'm throwing shade, but, like, the ecom professors that were available to us were not exactly helpful. Like, I did not, so I passed.
I didn't know how to budget until last year.
No, yeah. I did not understand what was going on in ecom in high school, but when I went to college, like, and I had a good professor, I was like, oh, this is what that guy was trying to explain.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was like
I think it was only one guy who was teaching it, by the way.
This is such a random tidbit, but I had an Equinox membership, like, right out of high school, and it was the one that was near the Costco.
Yeah.
And I saw him, like, that teacher.
I think you told me about this. What was he doing for his workout?
Well, he was older. He was an older guy, and so I think he was doing something on the elliptical.
Okay, joints. Okay, king of taking care of his joints. I was gonna be afraid if he was, like, running.
No. He definitely was not running. He was at a very leisurely, slowed pace at the gym. And honestly, did not need to see his knees ever in my entire life. That was a little bit traumatizing to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, super random. But okay, going back to, like, how we met, we don't know.
No.
Is really, like, the short answer, which is so interesting because we've known each other for such a long time.
Yeah.
That I don't know why we can't pinpoint the exact moment. But I do know that we had AP Psych together.
Yeah.
senior year, and I had
Ooh,
I
I'm
had
scared.
such a big crush on our teacher.
Oh yeah, we had this conversation because like I didn't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I feel like we have intersecting like types.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's like a major factor that differentiates us. I am into musicians, and you're, I don't know, like that's not really something that's your game. That's not like what you're into.
I think that like I don't know. I think that like I'm willing to explore that within myself, but
Mhm.
like I usually like gravitate towards like people who I don't know. I think that actually like I have not yet met a musician I like. That's not because they're a musician. It's just like I just haven't met one that I like.
I think that's what differentiates us, because I think I can spot them, like our bat symbol.
No. Because some of the ones that you know are not baddies. I'll say that. That's my call out.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not calling them baddies. I'm
Okay.
saying like our baddie bat signal
Yeah.
happens. I have a bat signal to musicians.
Oh no.
And it's not like, it's a hit or miss.
Mhm.
Mainly misses.
Mm-hmm. Like it misses in terms of like
Like
whether
there's
they're
something,
good.
there's something like weird about them, or like
Yeah.
not. It's just,
Yeah, there's something off about.
you know.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of like how we know each other. We also frequently hang out outside of school, but then also, funny enough, I don't think we've ever talked about this, that there was a little bit of a time gap between you transferring from Santa Monica College to was it UCSD?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a time frame when you went to UCSD, because were you commuting? Do I remember that correctly, or did you actually live in San Diego?
I lived in San Diego, but I was dating someone in Los Angeles who was like quite demanding of my schedule.
Me acuerdo. I remember.
Yes. So when I was going to college in Santa Monica, he also lived quite far. And
How
I was
far?
like, he lived in like
Let's not dox this man.
like
If he,
closer to like the Silver Lake area.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
That's a pretty far. That's west side versus east side. Like
and I go to school in San Diego. So it's like I was driving a lot.
your poor car.
Oh, I still have her.
I know,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah.
Like that's
She's
a
reliable.
beast.
That's why her name's Gertrude. She's spirited. She's experienced.
she's girthy.
She's a girthy Gertrude. She's hard to replace. She's got so much spirit. You know what I mean? Like
She really does.
But also like early 2000s car designs really speak to me, which
Me
is like
too.
yeah,
Like Lexuses in the early 2000s.
yeah. They're so good.
They're so good. And like I love a good wood trim inside of a vehicle, and that's
Bring it back. Bring it back.
why are cars so
They're so flat
robotic.
now. So here's the thing. I am a compact SUV girly. Like I want space. I got a lot of activities going on. I like to drive my friends around. Like I will volunteer to drive people, right? So like I need space. But like a lot of like compact SUVs, whatever, like anything that's bigger than a sedan these days has it's either like if you're looking at the back of it, it's either like the car is like full ass, like it's just like, damn, what you packing back there, mama? Or like the car is like clenching its butt cheeks because the middle of it's so like round, and then like the back narrows out again, and I'm like, what the is going on with these car silhouettes? And I like Gertrude because like she's
she's
the
no, she
right
really
size.
is.
She's the right design. It's ergonomic. What can I say?
I really think that you need to keep her for as long as you possibly can. And how
Yeah.
many miles?
Like 170.
That's awesome.
I like what I mean, there's one that my dad has that's like 300K. So it's like
You're having her forever.
It's indestructible. Like there's like no reason for me to like ever.
Plus, you're not like doing a full commute like you once were. Like,
Yeah.
dude, Santa Monica
Yeah.
to Silver Lake area adjacent to San Diego
It's no
is
joke.
insane.
It's no joke.
But here's the reason why I brought that up is because I think it's interesting that we haven't really talked about this. Not because like literally nothing happened. It was just
Yeah.
you were going to school in San Diego. And so
Yeah.
we lost contact for maybe like a couple of years. And then when you graduated and came back and you were working at
I was working at a big retail store.
like anything went and
Yeah.
anything was just kind of free for all, if
Yeah.
you will. Like I worked, which you can probably sleuth out where I worked. This was my very first job, and that there were shirtless models that were outside of the stores, and it was really like just transparently speaking, it was objectifying younger teenagers and early adults that really were just trying to get by and make a few extra dollars. And for you, something that I find really interesting, which I did not know, is that for your retail space when you were in high school, they did a photo shoot of you practically naked. You were in a bikini.
Yeah.
And that was something that was...
I will clear up that
Okay.
I was in college at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, you were
was
still
young.
young.
Yeah.
You weren't in your 20s yet, though, were you? Or were you 19, 18?
I mean, okay, so for that photo shoot and with the bikini, that was in my 20s.
Okay.
So, like, I volunteered for that one. And the ones prior were, like, with, like, store uniform type stuff that, like, they would post on the Instagram page and whatnot.
So wild.
But, yeah, I mean, like, I would say that, like, a lot of it was, like, voluntary on my part. I kind of, like, I felt like I, at least, like, with the people that I worked with immediately, because it was mostly up to us what photos we wanted to send. Like, I could just be like, I want to wear this skirt, and they would, like, be like, cool. But, like, you could go as much as you want. Like,
that's crazy.
you could be shirtless and, like, send a picture to, like, the team that posts on Instagram, and they would be like, okay, and then, like, they could choose whether or not they want to post it.
That's really insane.
Yeah.
I think there was just, the workplace was not how it is now, where it's extremely sensitive.
Yeah.
And I think for good measure, there's some pros and cons
Yeah.
to the sensitivity in the workplace. I think that there's a lot of protectiveness that is involved and what have you. But to be honest with you, it can strain a little too much on the strict. But we'll get into that in a minute. But my question for you is, what's one of the most unhinged things you've seen in the retail space in the 2010s era? What is something that, like, that's like, you think back on it and you're like, that's a crazy story. Like, I can't believe that happened to me.
I do have a story on hand for this.
I'm
I
ready.
don't have to think too much about it. I worked with somebody who I absolutely adored. And he was not straight. So, like, he was texting dudes and, like, being like, this, like, I have such a huge crush on this guy, but he doesn't like me back. And we would just, like, chat because, like, the store was kind of dead. So, like, we would just chat. I was, like, the youngest gal, like, working there. And, like, I was, like, really naive about some of my advice. And I'd be like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, maybe you should, like, text him a pic. And then, like, he was just like, yeah, like a cute one. I was like, for sure. And then, like, his idea of cute was, like, to sit in our, like, fitting room with, like, a rose in his mouth. In our, like, branded undies, and, like, it was like, I took the pictures and they looked hot. Like, they were hot.
Where did you get a rose?
Across the street to the grocery store and got a rose. But yeah.
Wait, that's actually so funny.
And it wasn't what I expected, that he was gonna, like, just, like, send a cheeky selfie. But, like, as we were taking pictures, it just got like more and more unhinged. And then he was like, wait, what if I sent him, like,
nude?
Like, not a nude, but, like, you know, an underwear pic. And, like, you know, we worked in a place that was where that was, like, normalized. It's like,
for sure,
underwear and thigh highs was, like, the branding. So it's like, I was like, yeah, I, like, saw it all the time on, like, our, like, little, like, posters and, like, store things. I saw it in our ads, and I was like, this would be funny to, like, send. So then, like, yeah, we did a photo shoot while, like, there were people walking around the store, and, like, this boy is, like, in his underwear. Boy, as in, like, he was, like, just a few years older than me, and I would think of myself as a girl back then. Like, so it was just, like, it's just funny. He was, like, in his early 20s, like, and I think about that all the time because, one, I miss him. He was so funny. But two, like, you can't do that now. Like,
no, absolutely not.
No. Like,
there's a lot of things that I've gotten away with in the retail space, but, like, that's...
Oh. Yeah. Ooh.
Sorry, that was a little
Tough,
unhinged.
tough.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
I don't think, are we thinking of the same story? Yeah, I was underage and I was working in a retail space and my boss, who is 10 years older than me, made out with me before opening.
Oh my god. I keep forgetting about that story.
But also
That's like bad.
what's it horrible.
That's like
No, it's
awful.
horrible. But the problem with that, on top of it being horrifically pedophilic,
Yeah.
and like you're
Yeah.
clearly taking advantage of a minor,
Yeah.
is the fact that he took advantage of the fact that there were no cameras because it was a kids store.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I
to
forgot
this
about
day-
that detail.
To this
Oh.
day, he will forever deny it because he doesn't want any written like confirmation that that actually happened. I did not dream that. And
No,
I know that I
yeah.
didn't dream that because at the time I was dating my first boyfriend, which
Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes. We know about that.
Mhm.
He and I were having issues at that time. And I was like, look, I had just gotten into the space of retail. I was working pretty much every Saturday with my boss. And it was just me and him by ourselves until around like 12 or 1 o'clock when someone else would come in. And then I would subsequently leave a couple of hours later. It's just, the thing about it is, again, in 2010s, there really was no regulation for
Yeah.
retail at that time.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of like I remember, Roma, also that there was one time where another, like an actual good boss of mine,
Yeah.
she was the assistant store manager. She had called me and she said that all of her college students that were going to be like, you know, helping her out throughout the week instead of the weekend were not available, and someone had called out. And so
Yeah.
she was like, I know you're in high school and I know you're probably like in the middle of class right now, but would you want to ditch? And I'm like, say less. So I took an Uber. In the middle of like class.
Yeah.
And I worked a 4-hour shift and I came back. And
That's so funny.
one of my marching band cohorts was like, where did you go? I'm like, I went to go work.
Get that
I'm a
money.
work-
Get
I'm
that
a
money.
working girl now.
Get your money up, girl. Like,
I mean,
do what you need
to be fair, it only covered my Uber there and back. Like,
Yeah,
let's
that's
be real.
crazy
It is very crazy
that you did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would do a lot of unhinged things, but there was my point in asking you about unhingedness in the workplace is that those type of things wouldn't fly now.
Yeah.
And I think, again, transitioning into the like corporate baddie situation
Yeah.
that you are now in, where you're knee deep. You're knee deep in the corporate world.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's really no turning back. You're not reverting back. Thank God. I think
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. There's pros and cons to any type of workflow and workplace that you are in. But why did you decide to get into where you are now?
I'm not proud of the way that I got into working in the corporate life. Like, because like honestly, like I did love my retail job. Like for as long as I worked in retail, I thought I was going to continue for the next 5 years. And like I am the age that I would have been if it did continue for 5 years. Yeah. So keep that in mind. I was dating somebody when I got my first corporate job. I had just graduated college a few months before, and then like I got introduced to somebody by a friend, and then like we started seeing each other. And he was something. He was like really affectionate, or like verbally affectionate. So
Okay.
like I don't think he like actually followed through with verbal affection, but we could touch on that later. But
Understood.
like he was kind of just like, I want to spend so much time with you. Like I work 9 to 5, and like of course like in a retail schedule it's demanding. You work like a 10 to 7. That's like your whole day. You don't even see the goddamn sunlight outside.
Right.
And he was like, what if we like had really similar schedules? And I was like, you know, I did just get my degree. Like I think it's time to like get a move on and like actually put it to use.
Another question that I have for you about work is, again, like I told you, we kind of had a little bit of a gap between your college experience and you coming back and actually working full time
Yeah.
after getting your degree. So I don't really know what your UCSD experience was.
Uh-huh.
And my question to you is, do you think that education on a higher level is a scam fundamentally? And follow up to that is, do you think that you had an enriching experience going to a 4-year university?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that, like, a lot of people will say that it is a scam.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely think that my time at UCSD was rewarding. I was never a party kid. I did not. In fact, I think my school is literally called UC Socially Dead.
Hell yeah.
Because no one does anything. We're all, like, at the library turned up. Like, that's, like, what we're doing. We're studying together. But, like,
that.
I would say, like, it is incredibly valuable. I think it teaches you so many things about the corporate world, which is, like, some people are like, why am I sitting in this class when I can, like, figure this out myself? And, like, I have to, like, work with these people I don't like. You do that every day.
Right.
Like, you do that every day in the corporate world. It is priming you to do that. Like, the school schedule is, like,
That's
as
an
many
interesting
hours
point.
as your work day in the corporate world. You're doing stuff that you don't like continuously. It is really training you to have to deal with people in that respect.
That's a really interesting point. I don't think anyone's really brought that up, where it's like, I now have to deal with people on a regular basis that
Yeah.
I don't appreciate or that I do not get along well with. And
Yeah.
so I have to cohabitate in the efforts to, like, make it to the other side.
Yeah. And I think
Interesting.
there was a lot of emphasis when we were going to school on learning technical things and, like,
Yeah.
enriching that. So, like, I think that, like, obviously my outlook isn't going to reflect on, in just a matter of years, how the landscape has changed because of AI and, like, all of that stuff. So, like, obviously I think there's a bit more nuance that, like, I guess younger, like, slightly younger folks than us could speak to, because
Yeah.
like the unemployment rate for new grads is, like, at its lowest right now. So it's like, yeah, I think that there is something to say about worth and really weighing that out. I think that, like, I had a lot of battles, like, in university, like, especially, like, going into community college when I got accepted into 4 years out of high school, and, like, weighing out the financial impact of that. I regret nothing. I'm so glad that I made that decision, because I didn't owe a cent coming out of college. In fact, I made money from going to college. I got enough scholarships to literally pay myself. And it was great. But I think that, like, it is what you make of it. I think that, like, I only had that outlook because the whole undertaking of having an arts degree, and really, like, I swear to God, people in, like, the mid 2010s were like, if you get an arts degree, you're wasting your time. And it's like, some of y'all don't have soft skills in the workplace, and I can tell.
Interesting.
That is, like, one of the biggest things now is, like, so many people don't have soft skills in the workplace, and you learn that either by going to university and being a participant, like, of anything. You could be in a club, you could be a participant of class, you could sign up for things that make you uncomfortable. If, like, you're gonna learn some, like, stuff about yourself and, like, the way that you communicate through that, the way that you hang out with people at your school, meeting new people, you know, potentially meeting a partner there. You learn all that stuff from that experience, and it's easy.
Right.
It's, like, handed to you because you're seeing these people on a regular basis in an environment that's facilitated for you.
Right.
So that's, like, you know, that's, like, one layer to it. The education is the second part. I think that, like, we grew up with, like, a lot of access that, like, millennials before us didn't have. So we're in this middle area, me and you, where us and the people that we went to school with kind of had a sweet spot where it's like, we have enough information available to us for free and on the internet.
Totally.
But we, like, also have reading comprehension, which a lot of younger people don't have these days. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying reading comprehension is at an all-time low.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Statistically, it is.
Yeah. So it's like,
I think it's a 36 or 37%.
I think the high school reading level, like, and, you know, like, I don't know the exact figure, but the high school reading level came back, like, as, like, a score, or, like, the national reading level, and it's, like, the lowest it's been in, like, years, like, in decades.
That's really depressing.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
So I will say, is university worth it? In my opinion, yes, because it pushes you out of your comfort zone in a lot of ways that you won't have if you like just jump into like working and living.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot of money, so you have to be cognizant of like whether or not that's worth it to you.
Right.
Like if I hadn't gotten those scholarships, if I hadn't gotten to 2-year and then transfer, I don't know if being in debt would be worth it to me. It all worked out for me eventually, right?
Which is amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, I think it is really what you make of it. But it's not even just that. It's like the belief that you just have in yourself that things are going to be fine afterwards. You kind of have to be like delusional enough to get yourself through certain things.
Delulu for the Salulu.
Exactly. So it's like out of high school, I got into like a couple pretty good places. Like the lowest acceptance rate for the place that I like, one of the places I got into, or 2 places, was like 4 to 6%, right? So that's competitive.
That is very competitive. Wow.
A lot of people got pissed that I didn't go like straight away. They were like, this is somebody's dream. It's like, it is not my dream to just go to college.
Wow, the projection on young people is incredibly damaging.
To each other.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I also think like I'm really fortunate enough to have friends like you who are very strong-minded people, and you're not really swayed necessarily or persuaded to do something that you don't necessarily want to do fundamentally. Only you know what's best for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
And your opinion, regardless of income or regardless of like what you're actually studying in university, all of those things obviously play a factor, but your opinion on it is based upon the fact that you were pretty responsible, open-minded, and also really open and honest with yourself as to your circumstances at the time. Because if you, like, again, like you said, if you did not have the scholarships to be able to go to university, you probably would either accept or deny continuing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Something that's really interesting also is I took a gap year.
That's right. I remember.
In the middle of it all. So like I went to community college and I didn't take a gap year before transferring. I took a gap year after my junior year, which is really significant because I don't think a lot of people actually like take it.
No one does that.
3/4 of the way done. Yeah. Why not go last mile? I won't name the actual agency, but an agency lost my paperwork for financial stuff. And it was so stressful having to figure out like what the ramifications would be on my plan to graduate on time and whether or not that was like worth it, and what the, you know, like at that time you're like really self-conscious about optics, so like what the optics would be that, like, you know, it's like, yeah, when you're younger you think everything else is so dramatic,
right? So
it's like, oh, it's gonna look like I got held back, but it's like, no, I think you really have to be firm in your belief in yourself.
Totally.
Because I'm like, I think a lot of people were like, oh, are you going to be one of those people who takes a gap year and just drops out? And I was like, no, I'm like almost done. And also like for
people that are questioning you in general, obviously you didn't listen to them because you know yourself. This is what the point that I'm trying to make is that so many people are in our ears 24/7.
Yeah.
Feeling like they have the right and the reserve to dictate what is best for you in the rest of your life. It's such an interesting concept.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that has carried me throughout my life that I can only now say this concisely, I didn't have a concept of this when I was younger and back then, but like now that I'm still young and 27, but old enough to know, life is great when there ain't a in your ear.
I love
life
that.
Is great.
I love that.
When there ain't a in your ear.
I want to ask you a question on specifically our friendship, going back to it. Why do you think our friendship has lasted so long?
I think mutual effort. I think everything in friendship, everything in a relationship, it doesn't matter if it's romantic or platonic. I would say ours is both because you're my wife. Everything is a choice. I think maintaining it is a choice. I think what you choose to care and not care about is a choice. And I think that I would be remiss to say like both people have to make those active decisions all the time. And I think both of us have been active in our commitment to each other, to be there, to remain interested in what we have to offer, like not just to each other, but like to everybody around us, to the
Yeah.
world. So yeah, I think that like our friendship is particularly strong because like even despite you seeing so many parts of me like that are very different from where I am now, you've made the active choice to continue to listen to that and like be present for it, and I have for you as well.
That makes me really like happy to hear because I feel the exact same way. I also think like speaking on specifically this year, it's been a really trying year for I think the both of us in different respects, but I want to talk specifically about your circumstances this year because you had gotten out of a relationship.
Yeah.
It was something that was pretty tough, I think,
Yeah.
for you. And I got to see a side of you that I don't think you show very many people ever. And because you're such a baddie, like you are always on point. And it's funny that do you have any Virgo placements? That's such a random question for me to ask, but do you have any? You're very pragmatic.
I do have a Capricorn Venus, so like I think that leads to me being pragmatic.
You're extremely pragmatic, and I think you're detail oriented where it counts. And so, with that being said, I think when it comes to calculating error in relationships, I think you're really, really good at detecting when things are going wrong.
Yeah.
And reevaluating it for yourself.
Yeah.
And seeing if it's really feasible for you to continue a relationship or not. But I think that this one was a bit blindsiding, and not to really like go deep into it because I have a question about it later. But I think when it comes to friendships, I think there's inevitably there's certain things that will happen throughout a lifetime of friendship that will disappoint the other person.
Yeah.
Or will make that person potentially second guess the relationship. But I do think that there have been moments where despite those differences and despite those disappointments, we continue on because we know fundamentally that that person and you and I specifically are good people to each other.
Yeah.
Someone out there might think that I'm a bitch and a horrible human being. No, which is fine. And like it's totally fine, but between you and me, we know each other to be good people. And I think that we put such a interesting pressure on romantic relationships when it comes to disappointment, where it's kind of an all or nothing versus there's a little bit more leniency with friendships.
Yeah.
When it comes to disappointment and faltering.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that between the two of us, there hasn't been disappointment where I question or second guess my instincts as to continuing a relationship with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, likewise.
So I feel like to a certain degree, I don't even think we've really fought in the years that we have been friends. That's the funny thing, is there's nothing really to fight about or to disagree on. Or I think maybe the disappointment lies in the fact that we both have such a high standard for one another. And when something happens to each other, we take it as, okay, this is a moment for personal growth. She'll get over the hump. Yeah. And she'll come out a better person because of it. Yeah. And I think, with all my rambling, I think with that being said, friendship lies within the nuance, so to speak, and to not really put so much pressure as an all or nothing relationship because there will be moments of disappointment. Yeah. You know what I mean? What makes it like different for like a romantic relationship then? Why is it so much an all or nothing? Like if that person disappoints you in some fashion, you're like, okay, I got to reevaluate everything. I have to seriously consider my options at this point.
I think it's because, well, you don't approach friendships like with the understanding that it can end, or like with the intention that like you can just like break up with them. Like, I think that's what makes friendship breakups so hard, because like you will try and try and try. At least I have. I've tried and tried and tried to understand, like, you know, I don't think it's disappointment at that point. It's like I've tried to understand certain aspects of like betrayal, right? And like I think that that's something, I'm not a very forgiving person when I feel betrayed. So in relationships, there is that like sort of feeling that like betrayal is easy because it's so high stakes. Like you're not, when you're friends with somebody, even if it's a lifelong friendship, which I would count like most of my friendships and especially ours to be like a lifelong friendship that I have. We've known each other for so long. I've known most of my friends for very, very long. And I've never had fights with any of them. Like I think like usually like any kind of like disagreement that has led to betrayal or like an immense amount of disappointment has like ended up in like an actual friendship separation. But I think that like that hurts more. Like those have hurt more to me than breakups, like in my opinion.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because I think it's like a deep embedded understanding of someone. I've tried to pinpoint this many, many times, and I think that I've come up with a general understanding of it, where in romantic relationships, you often are projecting an imagery of yourself on that person, right? And so that person's expectation of you, when it is faltered or not met, it can seem disappointing, but it's almost shadowed with the fact that they didn't really perceive you correctly, especially if it's a relationship that's not really long lasting, right? Like a couple months or maybe even a year. If that person's disappointed by you, it's because they're projecting an idea of who you are, of what they want out of a relationship, versus mutual friendship is like you are understanding that person despite their flaws, and you can actually clearly see them for who they are. And so a friendship breakup, I think, is unfortunately far significantly worse because you know that person actually knows you. Yeah. And respects you.
And I also think, you know, I will take our conversation here. There is so much disappointment and hurt in like romantic relationships because of the way that historically like they've come about. Like it's for a long time, we're like in a period of time where you don't need a marriage to gain social mobility. Like you don't need a marriage to gain financial mobility. And I think for a long time, especially for women, like there has been that expectation of being taken care of, being with somebody who like you trust to bring that kind of like mobility to you, like that opportunity. And we've been conditioned to really like feel like it is like something that you need to achieve in order to feel accomplished.
Isn't that crazy?
I think it's insane. But like I think that's also why it's like I think that's part of why I think it's more hurtful to have a friend breakup than a romantic one, because it's like, because at this point, like I would say, at least for myself, like a relationship will not bring me any more financial mobility than I will myself. And like
and
also
that's why
social.
She's a corporate baddie.
Exactly. So I think that like a lot of the reasons.
God, I'm so proud to have you as a friend.
Ew, period.
I just have to say that.
A lot of the reasons that we hold so much value in it is because it's like almost like we've just been told to do it. We've been told to aspire to be married. We've been fed this dream that it's like a princess like fairy tale, and there is an aspect to that where it's like people used to stay married and then they had the option to get out,
right?
So like even with the option to get out, we're still socialized to like really, really want this. And you have to ask yourself, is everything that I'm sacrificing for myself that I could do for me, is that worthy of me, of all of that, just to say that I'm in a relationship with someone, just to say I'm married to them? I think a lot, like, maybe this is projection because I'm single, but I'm having a great time. Like, I have a great time.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
It's
in and out.
I feel very, very comfortable being single.
Yeah.
And I have been for nearly 4 years.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a relationship in 4 years, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Like, I'll say it again, like, life is great without a bitch in your ear. Like, there are genuinely times where, like, I'll be like, you know, I'll have to take an opinion from a man because I'm seeing him.
Right.
And, like, I'm like, I don't know if that, you're forcing that puzzle piece into, like, what I'm thinking of, right? Like, I value you. I care about you.
That's a funny way of describing it.
Yeah, that was, like, right off the top of my head. But, like, it's like, I value you, I care about you, but, like, I know me, I will know myself. Even if, like, we spend every day together, I will know myself better than anybody else will ever know me. So it's like,
that's a self-assurance, though, that comes through life experience and time.
Yeah.
Because I do find myself kind of like, so me and Paloma are like someone who we went to high school with. We were having a FaceTime the other day, and we were talking about how this year specifically, it's kind of like a 1-by-1, week-by-week situation. We are seeing people who we went to high school with that are getting engaged or that are on their way to marriage, like they're at their bachelorette. Or
I don't follow any of these people. I have not seen anything on my feed.
No, so I mean, we'll talk about specific people after, because I am not doxing people in this particular episode. And again, no tea, no shade to people, but I do find it interesting that some of these people were high school sweethearts, or like that they've known, like, I can't imagine being with my first or even second boyfriend now, because they don't know who I am. I'm a completely different person. And that's not to say that you can't grow with an individual, but when you're 14 years old, or when you're like 18 years old, you're not a fully fledged human being.
Yeah, I just told you this right now. Like, I based my stupid ass, like, 19-year-old self based my fucking major off of my boyfriend. Like, I should not have been trusted with doing that. Like,
that's such a responsibility to put that.
And then at like, what, 23, I did the same thing with my job. Like, it's like, no, this frontal lobe ain't developed, dog. There's like a pinto bean rattling around my brain at that time.
Because it's true. It's so... It
sounds like a maraca. If I'm just like...
You're just like rattling your brain like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, that's actually such a funny metaphor. I love that. But I find it so funny that, like, these people are with their college or high school sweethearts, and it's still the thing to do. And maybe it's just because we are surrounded by people, really luckily we are surrounded by people like-minded, where we really are not going to be either settling or reverting back to an older or younger rather self. And the frame of mind has been shifted over the years, but I think 25 and up is when you really do have a fully developed frontal lobe where you're able to comprehend and understand things on a different level. And I don't think so, not to like spiral into something different, but I don't think I've really like touched upon something within this topic with you, that my ex, which I'm gonna tell you a specific story in one of my other questions that I have for you, but like to segue into it, my ex, you know how he was, like, not fully, because I don't think that you really hung out with him. I know my friends from marching band would hang out with him from time to time, but he never really like hung out with my friends. It was always like I was hanging out with his friends, and we would do everything that he was interested in together. And there's certain things that I really respect and love about that relationship that I got out of that are true to my personality now, that make me a fully fleshed person, right? But the problem with that relationship, both times that I dated him, it was that he made it seem like my interests were not up to par with his. And I really, really lost myself in and out of that relationship. And I really didn't know or really have any respect for my own interests and things that I liked.
Yeah.
Which I think is extremely sad, because when you form your own opinion as a woman, and I can only speak about a woman experience, I think men are, it's a little bit calculating, but I do think that men are encouraged to have hobbies and to like explore what they are interested in on a deeper level. For instance, like, I know a lot of people who are really into rock climbing, or they've gone down a really deep rabbit hole of engineering, or it's very niche, interesting things that a lot of my guy friends are really into and that they're encouraged to explore.
Yeah.
Versus women, I think, almost have like socially a default setting sometimes where people are thinking, oh yeah, she's into Taylor Swift, or like, oh yeah, like of course she would be into X, Y, and Z, and she wouldn't be into X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And I think I don't think women are encouraged enough to explore things that they could potentially be interested in. I mean, I got into foreign films this year on a deeper level. Like, I am very happy to announce that I have a Criterion Channel subscription.
Love that.
I very much am. I'm happy being in that world and like seeing things from a different cinematography perspective when it comes to movies. And I've really, really enjoyed myself getting deeper into that world. And I don't think that I would have been able to explore that in a relationship, because, especially the last one that I was in, because you're melting your life with that person in a way that is almost forced, unless you are very self-assured and you respect yourself enough to be able to separate yourself with that person and like form a life together, yes, but be a completely separate individual. And I was not at that time ready to explore myself on that level, because I think I was discouraged so much from having interests of my own.
Yeah, that guy, honestly. First, that's my first question. My first answer is that guy. But I think that, like I said earlier, women have historically been pointed in a direction for many, many, many years. Like this sort of autonomy that we have now, while not perfect, is very new. So, like, for example, a lot of women's hobbies, or at least the hobbies that you get to know in school, are consumerism, because the biggest consumer base, like in America, I don't know in other places, but like in America at least, like the biggest consumer base and the consumer driver is women. They're like, the purchasing power of women is strong, and it drives the economy. So it's like, when we're like young, the hobbies that we're like sort of given are really already pointing in that direction as they develop into teenage years and adulthood. Like, for example, like like I'm not hating on the Barbie movie, but like I think that like even a brand like Mattel making a movie like that, like about like feminism 101, right? It's tough. It's like tough.
It's almost serving it on a platter that we've already been given.
Yeah.
And like we're very familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's very like rudimentary, I think.
Yeah. But it's like, it is like, if we look at like Barbie as an example, which is like a movie for like, I think it was PG-13. If it was G, I would be really freaking surprised.
I think it was PG.
Okay. Okay. So like there's a very young demographic there. Yes, like there's like Barbie with like Barbie corporate baddie Barbie, but like I think of like when I was younger, at least, I would get like the Barbie commercials like to do makeup and like dress them up. That's really the point. Like, it's like you're dressing something up, and like this hobby that you're being given is like to look good. For whom? For a man. Like, it's like, okay. So like I will say, if I'm speaking in binaries, like we have the very unique opportunity now to deconstruct and like really change the direction of like what we've been fed and like what we've been
Agreed.
told is like what we should be doing. So I'm happy that you found hobbies now. I think like some of the reason why like my relationships don't work out is because if somebody's like not into the same stuff that I'm into or like think it's like nerdy or something, it's like I don't really want to hang out with that person.
Yeah,
So, like
absolutely.
even romantically, I'm just like, you're lame. Get away from me.
But I think that that's, to like wrap up the point, I think that that's what I find really fascinating about people our age
Yeah.
that are getting engaged to their high school or college sweethearts
Yeah.
is that it really is muscle memory more so than understanding and recognizing that you're like an autonomous human being and that you don't need to be dependent on another person in that respect. And again, this is just me generalizing. I don't know these people on a super, like I don't hang out with these people.
Yeah.
But from what I remember of them in high school, it's holding on to a life that is familiar and
Yeah.
it's very like almost primal. They're still reverting back to their school days because that's what they're most comfortable in.
Yeah. This is my perspective, right? Like, I don't know many people from our high school because I just didn't hang out like that. But there are so many factors, like, to marrying somebody that transcend past love. Like, it's like love sometimes is not enough. And I think that, like,
wow.
Yes,
we can
a part of
do
it.
a whole podcast episode on that.
Oh, yeah. I could really go into that.
Yeah.
But, like,
which you will be coming back, right?
yes.
Okay.
For you, always.
Yay.
But like the muscle memory piece is really interesting as well because it's like, yeah, we love an old habit. Like I feel like as like people, like if something's familiar, fabulous. Like I think that that's why a lot of people kind of like either go back to like those relationships or like continue them.
Right.
Because it is scarier to have to figure out who you are in a very different context.
That's a clip right there.
Than like just remaining the same. And I think, you know, while I'm not speaking from knowing these people, I'm speaking from the divorce rate that is actively going up year over year.
Which
people
is
really need to find themselves before they lock that in. Because like marriage, yes, the foundation is love, but it is also paperwork.
Agreed.
That will give you troubles if you're truly not considering the financial, the personal impact to you down the line.
Agreed. So now we're getting into the spiral of it all.
Okay.
We're just going to like go into weird topics.
Yeah.
Again, we both have been in the retail space and we both have been in the aesthetic space.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I have a weird like off question for you. What is a Pinterest aesthetic that you wish you could embody, but you know you can't? So for instance, like I wrote down, which I think is interesting, mine is either homestead DIY or minimalist or liminal industrial.
Damn, okay.
Because
like
I find
aesthetic,
it so
like
interesting.
fashion-wise or like
fashion,
house-wise?
house-wise, like something that you want to potentially embody, but you know fundamentally that you would not go that extra mile.
I know this term has been like kind of like canceled because for obvious reasons. You're gonna know what it is after I say it, but like this has been canceled as like a label. But like heroin chic,
Love.
like I cannot pull
Diet
that
Coke
off.
cigarettes.
I cannot pull that off. Like I am not her. Like no matter what I do, I can't be Gabriette. Okay, like but it would be fun if I could be that sexy and like kind of sleepy looking, right? I look like shit when I'm tired. So
I get that.
yeah, like that would be
The
one.
concealer's needed.
Yeah. And then like I feel like if I was heroin chic, my house would be like an eco-brutalist situation.
Ooh.
But again, I can't. I'm not cool enough for that. Like it has to be warm, it has to be inviting and homey. Like,
I really love that actually.
I can't have like one concrete chair in the middle. Like I can't have what is it, like a Wasserman chair like in the middle of the room, like surrounded by concrete and like only a record player. Like that feels distinctly uninviting, and I can't do that.
It's not, but also that's why that's like something that you could never embody, but something that you would often fantasize about. No. It was a very interesting like random question that I had for you.
I aspire to be esoteric and like weird as and like misunderstood, but I can't, like, I yap too much. I tell everybody about how I feel about things.
I really get that. It's a Scorpio in us.
Yeah.
But the Scorpio is confined to the fact that we are divulging those things. Yes, we are both air signs.
So the Scorpio in us is like punching and swinging, but like we're just like
I don't care.
We're just choking it down.
But we're like confined to the two of us understanding and recognizing that like secrecy is the name of the game. So like we are very open and honest with each other. That's what I love about it.
Exactly.
Okay, I've got another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions that I have for you is what or who created your villain origin story? And was it a singular event or was it one last isolating straw that broke the camel's back?
Oh, no. See,
I love your villain origin story. I think that it's what makes you a baddie. That's like partially, it's the percentage of your baddiness is wreaking havoc on men.
I mean, I got a really interesting question on a date recently, and he just like was like, how much of a man hater are you? And he was like, I was like, on a scale of what? And he was like 1 to 10.
But
and
10
like,
being what?
10 being like ridiculously like
I will murder and eat.
No,
men.
like I just like hate them with my whole entire being, right? It's like I was like, okay, what do you rank me? Because I want to know where his head's at, right? 8 to 9. Not off the bat, he was honest, and I was like, yeah, 11. Make it 11. So like, I would say my villain origin story has been slow. And
so it's not like the last straw that broke a camel's back. It's like this is a long
constant
burning
disappointment from the same things over and over again. And when I tell you that the theme of this podcast episode is life is great when there ain't a bitch in your ear, I really mean it. I've seen strong women in my life get broken down by guys who look like the rat from Flushed Away, and I don't
I love that meme.
I do not wish that on anyone. I don't want to look over at the man that you're crying about and see where's Waldo all of a sudden. Okay, like, come on, no. But what sucks is like I have fallen victim to that. So like, real recognize real. I have been down astronomically bad over somebody who looks like f***ing Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. So it's like, I understand.
That's
like,
such
it's
a beautiful
like
visual.
baddie down. But yeah, like I have fallen victim to too many Wallaces, too many Otises from Barnyard. Like and it like after you realize, because like I feel like I've always been a confident person, but like after you realize, absolutely not. You should not be this should not be happening.
Right.
You are lucky that I gave you grace. Once that clicks, which it only has in the last few years for me. That's like my villain origin story. It's too many people have gotten so much grace from me when they didn't deserve it. And then like, yes, I will stoop down to the level where I'll be like, you look like a claymation character. And you're talking to me like that? No.
It's also like being a man-eater is not something that people genuinely want to have on their resume. I feel like people, there is a reason for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, again, I think the tens of the world of like man-hating people are because a combination of like circumstance, but then also just like having an irrational point of view and perspective on it. You know what I mean?
Or you just were like me and you listened to Nelly Furtado a lot when you were a kid. Like, and that's like where it comes from, really.
Oh my God. Trudging along, since we have a little bit of time left. Yes. How has your dating life evolved since high school? And do you still have similar patterns that you unfortunately cannot break?
Okay. Yes, it has evolved. Let me tell you, in high school, my dating life was non-existent, and it continued to be non-existent, like really for like the first 2 years of college as well. Because I never found it important. Like I never found it important to explore those kinds of like romantic relationships. In high school, I guess the the thinking behind that was just like, where exactly are we gonna go on a date? Like Carl's Jr.? Like, no, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna do that.
Was
That's
there
like
a Carl's Jr. near our high school?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
There was
but I do
McDonald's.
love Carl's Jr. Ugh.
Yeah. But it was just like, what are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna do? Hold hands in the hallway?
Right.
Like,
Agreed.
it didn't make sense to me.
Agreed.
In college, it was like, okay, well, like, there's a bit more involved. Like, I'm employed, but like, it still wasn't top of mind. What was top of mind for me was to like have fun and hang out with my friends.
Right.
So yes, now I'm like very open about just like dating. I would say I'm still pretty much like, it's not my top priority, like ever.
Good.
Unless like
You're
I
not
find
centering.
somebody like, and again, before somebody calls my ass out and like is like, how about so and so from like a year and a half? Shut up! I literally only realized this like recently. Okay, but it's like it's changed from now. Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
because
You're
I'm
not the same
going
as who you were a year ago.
No, and I'm also not going to let somebody shake me down until I say yes when
Period.
when I don't understand the value that they can give me in that moment.
Period.
If I don't understand the value, get away from me. And that's it. Like, but like now, again, like I'm slowly climbing out of being a hermit. It is very important that that person can one handle all of this. Like
Absolutely.
I'm clearly very, I have a lot of astute observations. I'm well spoken and
Yes, you are.
I can handle myself fine. So they need to be able to deal with that because I feel like there are a lot of people who are insecure who can't.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, what are you bringing to the table? Like, are you interesting? Like, what are you bringing to the table? Are you passionate about anything? Do you read? In this day and age, it's important to ask, do you read?
Do you have a reading comprehension that supersedes the 3rd grade?
Exactly. So, yeah, I have like basically from going from nothing, there was like a really rough middle period where it was like I was not really standing up for myself and like not in the sense that like I was like being pushed over all the time. Like I would say like 80% of the people that I've dated have been pretty like delightful. Like, but there were like times where like I was kind of just like, what are we doing?
I get that.
What is happening here? And like, is this important to me? Like a couple years down the line, like, and if not, why am I staying?
Yeah.
And I would just like really just be in this connection with someone where both of us were just being courteous to each other. And it's like, no, I think it needs to be more than that.
Absolutely.
I need to feel like either like, I mean, I feel like both of us need to add to each other's lives in some way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, I have a couple more questions for you.
Yes.
Speaking of interesting, I know you to be a very, very interesting human being, and the things that you find interesting, I think should be put on blast a little bit.
Whoa.
And so besides brain rot, because I think it really has consumed our world, unfortunately, and that's a whole nother topic that we can get into, what is some media that you've consumed recently that is not brain rot? So video essays, YouTube wise, or like an essay on something, or even a movie or a book that you have consumed that is not brain rot that you find interesting and would like to share.
Yeah, I watch a lot of long form content on YouTube. Like I make sure that like what I'm watching is like 30 minutes to an hour and then I'm fully engaged in it.
That's
but like
what I know about you. That's why
video essay wise, I watch a lot of Jordan Teresa, a lot of Mina Lay, and they talk about like current social issues that are happening or like that have come up. So for example, like I think one of them has talked about how like not how, but like why it's become embarrassing to post like on social media and like what's behind that and like the behavioral patterns there. And they do great research when they talk about that stuff. So I like watching them. I read a lot. I read a lot of social sciences books and I continue to. I really did love my major in college. Like I did a lot of reading in terms of like cybersecurity and stuff like that. I like Shoshana Zuboff's books. Like it's about privacy and like the panopticon of like the internet, stuff like that. But also I read a lot I think a recent book that I've been reading is Data and Inequality. Ooh. And it explores how the internet is basically like a space. It's like we could look at it as like a geographical space or like maybe we haven't been looking at it enough as a geographical space, and that the way that like data is collected on people there, or even like the spaces that we occupy and the way that stories are told is tilted one way or another, whether or not we want to believe that. There is like a very big lack of like objectiveness and like non-algorithmic like findings. Like you have to, like these days things are targeted towards you. So that's usually the kind of stuff that I'm partaking in. One of my best friends, I'm very close to her. I also work with her. I was very sad and down astronomically bad from this relationship we mentioned, the one that ended last year. And I was going through it and I was continuing to consume these like very smart think pieces and, you know, all of these long form media choices that I'm making. And she sat me down. She's like, I need you to read a dumb book. Read a dumb book about, I don't know, read smut. Read something hot. Read something fun. And like she literally had to
I was about to say like smut.
Yeah, she literally was like, you cannot keep reading stuff like this if you're sad, because like it's just gonna make you more sad, which I agree with. And I didn't pick up smut, but I think I ended up reading Conversations with Friends, and it was good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I think that there needs to be a sense of balance, because if you're leaning more towards the existential, you could really go down a rabbit hole that is far to get out of.
I was far gone.
You are far gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have one more question for you that is just a general spiral, and then we can kind of wrap up. I know you to be somebody who is not far removed from social media, and someone who is very much an internet personality, because in high school, which you have tried to smudge out of the internet as much as possible, but you did have a YouTube channel when we were in high school.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about why you did it in the first place, and like what was something about that era of YouTube that you miss now looking back? Because if I recall, you went to a couple of VidCons, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the why. I touched on this earlier. I didn't hang out with a lot of people in high school. I just like, I've always been more of a homebody. I really don't mind just like spending my time at home, and I don't mind being the person who says an Irish goodbye at the party and just like leaves. Like, if I am not having a good time, I'm not going to make too much sacrifice unless like I'm specifically there for someone to support somebody. If I'm just there to vibe and I'm not vibing, I'm leaving. And that was the case for a lot of like social events in our high school, like prom, and like I guess like it started when we were younger than that, like homecoming. And I sat them out, like, and it was just kind of like, well, like none of my friends are available to hang out with tonight. Let's do something creative. And I think that it was a creative outlet. I admired a lot of vloggers at the time. And I think that like something I do miss about YouTube in that era was that you could really like shout into a void, but still find your people. And I think that that's how like a lot of like creators I was watching in that moment, I think like Dan and Phil were like my favorites. Aww. Because like I love a sketch. Like I love a sketch. I love talking about what you've experienced and what you've been embarrassed about as a creative outlet. And like I looked up to that. So I made the same type of like sketch comedy to kind of poke fun at the fact that I'm sitting all these things out that a lot of people look forward to as very significant parts of their life. And it was like a cope for me to do that. But eventually, like I ended up falling in love with more of the editing aspect of things.
Interesting.
So like down the line,
that's your pragmatic nature, I think.
Yeah. And somehow down the line, I sort of like the sketches got more clean. The storytelling was more succinct. The pace at which I was speaking was better. And like my very last few videos, I would say I'm so proud of. So like I don't mind you like shooting a clip in here of those, but I would say like the very first few that like encouraged me to be there were just about like my high school woes. Like it was just like, I'm sitting this out and I know I should be going to it, but it doesn't seem important to me. And
do you ever regret not participating?
No.
Hell yeah, that's the I like to see.
Because I then found my people, and I've been friends with people that I've met on the internet from this who were like my age when I was like posting these. I had a great friend group. We like some of us have drifted apart, sure, and that's just what happens naturally. I have so much respect for all of them, and like I'm still very good friends with quite a few of them, and I just visited 2 of them in Chicago. So it's like those are my lifelong friendships. They're like people who, you know, it's really funny that they'll talk about it sometimes and it'll come up like, how do we even know each other? And it's like, I used to watch her videos and like,
I love that.
And then we were both in the comments and that's how we got to know each other. And that's hilarious to me.
It is very hilarious because the parasocial actually like gets into the reality and it's not necessarily sustaining sometimes, but it has.
Yeah.
And I think what's amazing for you.
Another thing that I miss about it is like the community aspect of like, you can meet friends like that.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people do these days, but I think it's influencer to influencer. I think very seldom do people like become friends with their fans. Of course, because a lot of creep happened.
For sure.
During that time. And like a lot of people were really fucking weird to like minors. But like I think for me, it was just like I was with like a bunch of people my age and like thankfully didn't experience like many weird things and like it spread pretty fast if like somebody was being a freak weirdo.
Love that.
So that like it wouldn't happen to other people. But like I miss the aspect where it was like your comment section was like more of a community, and I think a lot of people do. Certain people do really good jobs like doing that. I think the next generation of people doing this are like live, like people who are like live streaming, not like live streaming brain rot, but like there's this guy that I follow on TikTok. He's a potter, but like he just like does like these like lives where he's just like talking to people in the chat and like he's like being productive or he'll explain what he's doing, and I think it's like fun. Like,
and that's the way that it should be. It should be to like broaden the sense of community between people. And I think TikTok does that, but it's not as rewarding or reflective as it was for the YouTube days. It's just, it was a different time.
Yeah.
It's a different time. We didn't have enough time to do a Hear Me Out cake this time around. I think that we should definitely continue doing it maybe like for another podcast episode.
We can talk about my love life and do a Hear Me Out cake.
Yes, which I think would be amazing. But I do want to have one precursor of one particular person that you would put on a Hear Me Out cake. And
you have to go first because because the last time we did this, we had a misalignment. And I thought the Hear Me Out cake had to be ridiculous, right? So
it doesn't have to be ridiculous. It can be ridiculous, but you have to be sexually attracted.
But that's the layer you add because there are genuinely Hear Me Out cakes on the internet that are crazy. So I thought we were going there.
No. I mean, they are, but I
Lorax down last time because it's like I his values, okay? But like,
what's your pitch?
No,
what's your pitch?
So I'm not going to stand behind that because the layer that you want for this
is like you're actually attracted to this person.
Yeah.
So this one's really unhinged.
Okay.
Like this was a recent development because I just got back into Star Wars.
Yeah.
After it being a dormant interest for quite some time.
Yeah.
From Phantom Menace, Darth Maul.
Okay, I fuck with that.
He just was so creepy looking when I was younger, but then I was rewatching him.
He's always been fine. He's always been fine.
He also has like the most crazy moves that like jujitsu moves. It's like crazy.
You're like thinking about how you can do like flips and
and that he's flexible. Like yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
So that's mine to start off with.
I will say for this round, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, like the magic eraser guy with the hoop earring.
Absolutely. But I was thinking of Billy Mays from the OxyClean. That's my thought in my mind.
God bless him.
God bless him, but no.
But it's Mr. Clean. Yeah.
No, Mr. Clean's really great.
Yeah, because I would imagine if I went to his... No, I think if I went to his house, it would be tidy and he wouldn't have like heinous sheets.
But
like,
is he sexually attractive?
Yeah, the hoop earring gets me. That white t-shirt just fit in super right.
Wait, do I look like Mr. Clean today?
No, you look sexier than Mr. Clean. Yeah, but like he's still hot. Yeah,
he is hot. Yeah. I would say
Mr. Clean can get it.
I think we can do one more.
Okay. This has to be a real person.
Like a real
like
person.
a real person.
Well, you know my love for James Spader, but like I think I want to have that be on a completely separate topic because like I have reasons as to why this man is like and should be on everyone's list.
Okay.
So specifically, so James McAvoy, I think, is a very, very attractive person. Like
Yeah,
objectively,
he's
he's
hot.
hot as hell.
Yeah.
And he's like going towards that beekeeping age.
Uh-huh.
He's like the gray. It's great. But
I know what you're about to say.
I don't think you do.
Okay, go on.
Specifically in the movie Penelope with Christina Ricci, where she's a pig. Do you remember this movie?
No.
Have you ever seen it? It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
We gotta watch it together.
We'll watch it together. It's very campy. It has Christina Ricci and oh god, I forgot what her name is. She's a really famous actress. But James McAvoy is in it, and he looks like a greasy, like heroin addict guy, and he just like he's not looking good in that movie, but I think he looks so good.
But because he's James McAvoy.
He's so
okay. Hear me out.
It is what it is. I'm into greasy, tall, lanky men. What can I say?
Fair enough. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, unfortunately, I fear.
I feel like a lot of people don't get my vision here, but I know that I'm going to speak to an audience that does.
Okay.
Patrick Wilson.
Who's Patrick Wilson?
The guy from like The Conjuring, like the guy who plays like one of the Lorraine's husband.
No, he is objectively attractive. I'm so sorry. He is so hot.
But some people would literally be like, no, he isn't.
Yes, he is.
Okay, fine.
Oh, I totally get that. If there's people who are watching / listening who do not agree, I think that is kind of a crime against humanity because he is objectively attractive.
That's true.
I think I saw a thirst trap about him the other day.
God, thank God somebody's got to do those. Like
TikTok is so great for any niche interest of yours. Like I have so many thirst traps of James Spader. I'm like, there's one specific TikToker who that is her job.
Oh my God,
is to like find
it's just
old clips of James Spader
in The Secretary. Is that the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've seen those before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fine. What's the guy who talks kind of weird in a New York accent? And he goes like, I think there's a clip of him being like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Foo Fighters." Like, but like,
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken is my hear me out. Then Christopher Walken is my was unreal when Christopher Walken said our band name, aka the Foo Fighters, on SNL because he reenacts it, and Dave Grohl is like, "Here's our special guest, the Foo Fighters."
The Foo Fighters.
And I don't know why he talks like that.
It's great.
intentional because he like in interviews he speaks normally.
No, for sure. Well, there's some times when he actually like does not talk that way, and that he does talk that way.
Yeah.
And so, funny enough, I do find him attractive, like now at this older age of life.
Oh, I'm talking like younger Christopher Walken.
No, young Christopher Walken is extremely peak. Absolutely.
He was not, like, he was a little weird looking.
Of course he is. But that's just... Well, this has been extremely rewarding. I think that there are definitely more questions that I have for you.
Of course.
Because...
we yap so much.
We yap.
Yeah.
But I want you to understand, like, part of the reason why I wanted to do something like this is because I know my friends very intimately, and I am really proud to have the friends that I have. But I think that there's very rare moments in life where you're able to actually, like, sit down and have an interview-esque time with a friend and ask those little discreet details that you wouldn't necessarily ask in a general conversation with a friend. And so I wanted to take this opportunity and time to have you sit down and, like, I mean, you're so funny, dude. You're so insightful. You're incredibly well spoken, but you are funny as fuck. Like, people around you,
I think everything I say is just brain rot sometimes.
Sure, but
like, ballerina cappuccino, me, and like that's the shit that goes on. Again, pizza bean rattling around my head.
I love
Mung Bean Morocco over here.
Also, the way that I just said sure was very Christopher Walken-esque. I was like,
Yeah.
sure.
Sure. Sure, sweetie.
Sure. No, but like truly, like in all honesty and with a lot of sincerity, like I very much admire you as a person and the not only the versatility that you bring to the table because you are a conundrum. You are
Yes.
so many dichotomies and so many things that are just wrapped up in one person. And I think that that's what I love most about you is that you're just a very, very special person. And I think a lot of people are very lucky to have you in their life. But
I
I'm
love you.
especially lucky to have you in my life.
I'm so lucky to have you in my life.
Wait, are we gonna like
Are you gonna kiss?
off camera?
Okay. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
But in all honesty, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day and to just hang out with me, have a conversation. And this definitely won't be the last, for sure.
As I said, anything for you.
Love. Great. I think that's a good wrap up.
Yeah, always remember, kids, life's great when they're in a in your ear.